It's the most wonderful time of the year. It's draft time, guys. Let's get right into it. Shout out Mike Scotto. Aggregate mock draft 4. You guys know I've started doing my draft content. But before we start doing my draft content, we're about like 6 prospects deep. And I'm about to release my first mock draft. But we've been doing these aggregate mock drafts. Shout out Mike Scotto of HoopsHype, that they compile every other NBA draft websites, and they basically create a mock draft that's aggregated with all those together. So let's get right into it. Obviously, the number one guy, there's no teams in this because obviously the lottery has not happened, but Victor Wembanyama. And what I like that he did this time is they did comparisons. So this is a very comparison mock. I'm not super into comparisons. I like to just compare players, like maybe play style or physical profiles, but every player is their own player. Now, right here, they say Victor Wembanyama is the best player or draft prospect since LeBron James. The 7'4" monster right there. Next up, Scoot Henderson. They're saying Russell Westbrook along with Derrick Rose, John Wall, Donovan Mitchell. I've also heard John Morant. Scoot Henderson would be a number 1 overall pick in basically any other draft, with a few exceptions, of course. Like and subscribe if you guys enjoy any of this. Now, next up, Amen Thompson. They have Amen Thompson as a guy that he's going to be an insane defender. 6'7". They're literally saying, I've heard people say he's a shorter Ben Simmons with way more athleticism. And they actually didn't give him a comparison, but I'll give you that comparison. Brandon Miller. They've been saying that he supposedly brought somebody a gun, but that's all. I really don't know. But they're saying he's got the body and looks like Paul George out there. I mean, they're not wrong. Brandon Miller's a dog, and he's one of the safest players in this draft. Lasar Thompson, he's the better three-point shooting, and he's the wing while Amon's the guard. Again, they're saying they would be able to be high-level defensive players immediately. Nick Smith at 6, ceiling of Jamal Crawford and... Sorry, girlfriend texted me. Jamal Crawford, Malik Monk, ceiling for Nick Smith. I think that's safe to say. His knee scares me. Cam Whitmore. Oh, dude, he's a dog, okay? He's literally what we thought Sadiq Bey was going to be. I think he's way better than Sadiq Bey. He's a thick-bodied big boy. I would compare Cam Whitmore. I don't know necessarily. He's 6'7". I don't know. I'm trying to think of a thick, small forward who's 6'7" that I'd compare him to. Give me your thoughts for Cam Whitmore. Anthony Black's a dog. I've been saying he's going to be the best prospect in this draft. Whoever gets him is steal. He's the Tyrese Halliburton, the Josh Giddey. Okay, he's got the potential, I think, to really be like a LaMelo Ball type guy. Like literally, they're comparing him to Sean Livingston. Tyrese Halliburton was compared to Sean Livingston. Anthony Black, whoever has him on his mock, get him. He's an insane defender. Jarace Walker is being compared to Larry Johnson, the Charlotte Hornets from back in the 90s. Dude, he's an absolute man-child. Like 240 pounds, 6'8", 7'2", wingspan. Love the cat. Keontae George is saying he's an Eric Gordon, better passer, maybe. And I like that he comes out of Baylor, meaning he'll be a good defender. Baylor does a good job. Kassan Wallace, my friend really, really likes him and says he's a really consistent player. I just don't think he has that high of a ceiling, but I see him definitely being like, I think he could. I mean, I don't think their play style isn't. I'm not comparing them as a player, but like, I think he could be like a Mike Conley player. Grady Dick, I love this guy. I love Grady Dick. I go to the University of Kansas. I'm not. I think 12's a little high for him. I think he's a bigger, better defensive version of Kevin Huerter, and I don't say that because they're both white. I just like very similar, like Huerter coming out of Maryland, just sharpshooters. Jet Howard's another shooter. He's maybe a better creator, but I would say he gives you like no defense. Gigi Jackson is a lot higher than it was earlier in the season, or like late, but he was the number 1 player in the 23 class, but then he decided to reclass. He's an absolute dog. He's playing on a bad team and putting up, inefficient stats, but he seems like he can be a really good player for a while in the NBA. Maxwell Lewis, Pepperdine guy, could be like the J-Dub, Jalen Williams of this draft class. Great 3-and-D guy who come in immediately help. Chris Murray is twin brother, left-handed version of Keegan Murray. Just not as much of an offensive creator, more of, a role player. Brian Sensabaugh, he's a 3-and-D wing from Ohio State. 6'6", dog, okay? And he's a really efficient player right now. Taylor Hendricks, I love him out of Central Florida. Dog, okay? Dog. He can shoot over anybody. And he kind of, I think he's more of a forward version of Chris Boucher, Taylor Hendricks. Rain Rupert's arguably the best international player, not named Victor Wembanyama. And 18 to 19 is where you see him. He's 6'7" with a 7-foot wingspan. He's earned every minute for the New Zealand Breakers and so good at defense. Could be a really good 3-and-D. Derek Whitehead has, struggled to find his footing, but he started to, they're saying they're comparing him to Dwayne Bacon. That's rude. That's rude. Okay, he's better than Dwayne Bacon. Kyle Filipowski, I've heard him compared to a bigger Naz Reid. Is some people have compared him to Quavian Smith. Similar spot where he would have gone last year. I've compared him to, someone put Tyrese Maxey and Emmanuel quickly along this that vein. Leonard Miller, absolute dog. He used to be a point guard. They're saying he's a bigger Lamar Odom. I see that. The shorter version of Lamar Odom's Denny Aptia. Jordan Hawkins, another great shooter in this draft class. He's coming up. He's a guy that I could see, if it works out, kind of like a Jeremy Lamb, if I'm going to be honest. And it's not just because they both went to UConn. Noah Clowney, dude, he's 18, won't turn 19 till July. He's got some long-term potential. I could see, Clowney kind of being like a Nick Claxton. Guy just comes up the radar. Colby Jones, he's a dog. I could see him either, he's a guard at 6'6", but he's more of a wing in the NBA. So I see him falling he's better shooter than Jashawn Tate. And I don't know if he's big enough to play there, but I think he could definitely be a guy people really like. Kyle Ware, dude, his stock's falling, but he can shoot, he can shot block. I really like Kyle Ware. He'll be an impact player. Marcus Sasser, he's just a defensive guy if you need an impact defender. Jalen Wilson at 29, that's kind of reach, late second round, late first round, late second. I see him as a Torrey Craig, to be honest. I go to KU. Jalen Hood Schifino, he was hot earlier in the year, but he started to fall. Then this is the rest. Derek Lively at 31. Jamie Jaquez from UCLA. Dude, he's consistently stayed in the second round. Ricky Council at 33. Dylan Mitchell at 34. James Nanji. Dude, this guy's a beast from the international school. Keontae Johnson, he's pretty freaking good. I've seen him play. City Sissoko from the G League. Terrence Shannon Jr., Illinois. Tracy Jackson Davis. Didn't he say he's only going to go in the draft if he's a first-round pick? Guess that didn't happen. Coleman Hawkins from Illinois at 40. Nikola Dursic, hopefully I said that correctly, from Mega. He was almost a first-round pick earlier in the season. Deron Holmes, Julian Strother, Julian Phillips, Belial Colbele, Imani Bates, 46. That's funny. I can't say this guy's name. He plays for Arizona. Tubelis, Tristan Vucevic. I really like Tristan Vucevic. Reese Bakeman, Andre Jackson, Judah Mintz, Arthur Kaluma, Adam Flagler, Mark Mitchell, Kobe Bufkin, Zach Edey, Jordan Walsh, Jalen Clark, Baylor Shireman, Tyrese Hunter. That's it, guys. Hope you guys did enjoy.